program paid for by Meloni Productions. The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the following program are not those of WHNZ AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Meloni.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Focus Fridays on That Business Show, now with Jamie and Kelly. Kelly will join us in the 8 o'clock hour, but up first we have Julianne Nichols, CEO Focus on You Strategy, bringing out the CEO in you, joining me for this hour of the program. Julianne, welcome to the program today.
Good morning, Jamie. Great to be here.
And so let's first talk about the upcoming Focus on Entrepreneurs Conference. This is going to be a big event being held next April. You're just kind of getting things kicked off. Let's talk a little bit about this.
Yep, the Entrepreneurs Conference is April 27th and 28th at the spanking brand new, that is actually still being finished up, but being built in Clearwater Beach, the Wyndham Grand Resort. It's a beautiful hotel. We just did a hard hat tour last Friday, and it's going to be spectacular.
Okay, so this is still under construction?
It is. Oh, it is. So it's going to be, we're one of the first big conferences that they're going to have, so we're very excited about that.
And what is planned for this conference? You're having like 30 to 40 professional speakers. Give me an outline kind of what's expected.
We have our keynote speaker is Michael Gerber, who wrote The E-Myth. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. And then we have 3 other keynote speakers that we're finalizing the contracts with, and then we have 36 breakout sessions. And this is a conference that is strictly focusing on the entrepreneur. Over the past, several years, we hear a lot of the issues and challenges that entrepreneurs are having, and we've taken those challenges and realized that everybody needs time, clients, and money. And we're going to focus on how we can help them automate, delegate, or eliminate some of the issues that they're having. And we're very excited about this. It's really going to be great.
What about people that are thinking about starting in a business? Would this be a conference for them, or is this a conference designed for entrepreneurs that are already in business?
No, it's a good place to come. In fact, I would highly recommend it if you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, solopreneur, because you're going to get started on the right track. You're going to hear all kinds of ways to help get you started in the right direction. And we're very, very excited about this. Our tickets go on sale November 1st. There's early registration, and those tickets are $289, which is a steal. It's about $100 less than later in the year.
The $289 pricing is going to be available until what date?
Till December. It's November 1st through December 31st.
Okay, so through the end of the year for $289.
So you want to get your tickets early for this, and then if you plan on staying at the Wyndham, you'll want to make a reservation for that as well.
Okay, and then after the first of the year, what do the ticket prices go to?
$389, I believe it is, okay. And there's a VIP rate of $429.
Okay, and the website is just getting wrapped up. What's the website URL?
It's a long one, so
Focus on Entrepreneur Conference?
FocusOnEntrepreneursConference.com. If you don't know how to spell entrepreneur, you will.
Did you check and see if the acronym may be available for that? FOEC?
Something like that. We're going to have to figure that out. But we're going to have lots of bit.lys so people can just click the link and
I'm
be
sure
able to
you'll
go
short
to
that
it.
up by
right.
the time.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe the URL, the acronym is available.
Absolutely.
So, Julianne, tell us about our guest. We're going to be talking with Kalpesh Patel today. He's an attorney, Patel Law. So tell us a little bit about our guest, and we'll bring him into the discussion.
Well, actually, I met Cal he's on the same office floor that we're on, and it's nice to have a good office neighbor. And Cal had agreed to become part of the host committee for the conference, and is our quote legal representation. So, Cal, I'm going to let you explain. We've decided to make Focus on Entrepreneurs Conference actually a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
And so Cal can tell us a little bit more about that.
All right. Cal, welcome to the program today. Tell us a little bit about your background to start us.
Well, thanks for having me, Jamie. I was a civil defense attorney, and I started out in Chicago. and I've been practicing for about 3 years now, and I recently started my own practice here in Florida.
So what brought you down to Tampa, and you're coming? Did you grow up in Chicago?
I did. I grew up in Chicago.
Those Cubs are doing pretty well this year, right?
Yeah,
they're still.
yeah.
What are they? What's the latest on that?
They're going to the World
Don't
Series.
jinx it.
Yeah. So looking forward to see the Cubs pull it off.
Yeah.
But they're up against the Indians this year, which is my dad's favorite team, and the
Okay.
Indians haven't won a World Series since who knows when. So that'd be pretty interesting, though, if the
I
Indians
love
won.
seeing that, though.
Yeah,
I love seeing those two
hopefully
teams
we'll
get
see
together.
some Angels in the field again.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Joe Madden, our Tampa Bay
Yeah.
former coach. I met him last year. His wife was on the program, so I'm rooting for both sides here. I'm kind of pulled here. I want to see my dad do
Yeah.
well, but then again, I like to see Joe do well. What
Cool.
brought you to Tampa?
Well, so I've been coming to Tampa since I was about 14 years old, and visiting my sister and my brother-in-law. And my sister's always been a big role model in my life, and she's always pushed me to achieve my goals. And my brother-in-law is an entrepreneur himself, and he's successful, and he's not only started one company but 3 successful companies, and he's ready to retire at the age of 40. And I was like, I want some of that entrepreneur skills to rub off on me. And so I also looked at the Tampa Bay area, and it was a great place to start a business. There's a lot of support for startups and small businesses, and it's a great place to live. And most of the people I meet are from the Midwest anyway, so it was
Got
just
that.
Yeah, Julian over here, out of
Yeah.
Kansas, yes.
So it was just almost like living in Illinois, except with nicer weather.
Now, have you just recently met Julianne as part of the move over into St. Petersburg? You became neighbors in the new building?
Yeah, I met Julianne. We were one of the first tenants in the office suite, and ever since then, we've just kind of been acquaintances. And then,
Being neighbors.
yeah,
Now, you're part of the host committee. Tell me what the role of the host committee is for the conference and what your role will be in the
sure.
conference.
So the host committee's job is to really plan this event, and so there's 6 different subcommittees under that. There's the planning, the logistics, the finance. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. This is going to be a big conference, and so my role is to be staff counsel for the organization. And so I've always wanted to be part of a nonprofit organization, and Julianne came to me, and she said she was interested in this. And so we are leveraging the use of nonprofit to really raise funds and use that money to give back to the community.
Tell me a little bit more about the differences that you saw or are seeing between Chicago and the Tampa Bay market in terms of entrepreneurism, because I see that you said that when you came to Tampa, you saw a lot of startups, a lot of innovation going on, and I'm hearing that as a consistent theme throughout my show from people coming in from other markets. I talked with somebody yesterday from San Francisco, and she said it was like night and day, and a lot of entrepreneurism. So I'm hoping that Tampa can become recognized nationally as the hub for entrepreneurship, almost like a movement. Would you respond?
Sure. Well, so when I started in Chicago, we worked primarily with startups. And so in Chicago, there was a lot of co-works. There were a lot of resources that helped the startups with meeting space, office space, and things like that. And Tampa is still growing in a sense, and there are a lot more co-works in the area now, but they're not on par with just Chicago yet. And so it's a great market for companies who do want to get in and provide that support system for the startups, and because the startups are starting up here.
Tell me a little bit about your practice now. You do business law, but obviously business law is a very broad topic. So let's talk about your practice specifically.
Sure. So my practice focuses on preventive law. So my goal is to really help entrepreneurs before they get into problems, right? And so when I was in Chicago, we were working with a lot of startups, and one of the things I learned was working with all these entrepreneurs, whether they were seasoned entrepreneurs, whether they were bootstrapping, or whether their companies had funding, was they avoided the attorneys like the plague.
Right.
And, and the thing is, most entrepreneurs, they don't understand the transaction they're entering into. And so that makes it difficult for attorneys to help them if they go talk to an attorney after they enter into the transaction. So our whole goal is, hey, find a small business advisor who's an attorney in your area and really build that relationship and talk to them and seek counsel for them before entering into a transaction.
I mean, it's tough because they see an attorney as just another cost, and then you want to minimize costs, and I can do without the attorney. How do you overcome that objection?
Well, so one of the things I tell my clients is, so I'll give you an example, right? I have a client who recently reached out to me. She entered into a transaction to license some trademarks for from another company for her business. And so she came to me 3 months after she signed the contract, and to review the contract, because obviously there was some sort of dispute and something's not going right. And so she came to me and she wanted me to review the contract. And so I looked at the contract, and it turned out the trademarks weren't registered. there was no, and it was an illegal franchise agreement. So she paid $30,000 to enter into this transaction.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and spend another $30,000 investing in her business, and all her whole cost to review this document was less than $200.
Oh my gosh!
You
So
know?
who prepared the document to begin with? Did she get it online or something, or did she?
Well,
work
the
with
other party.
The other party prepared it.
Yeah. And so one of the other insights I've kind of gained is that entrepreneurs, when they they think about the transactions, their eye is on the prize, right? So they're not focused on the red flags there are. And so what attorneys, the critical thing that attorneys do is they're there for your best interest, and they identify these red flags that you may have, tunnel vision over, and really advise you, hey, this is a small fee compared to what you're going to spend, now trying to get out of this contract and spending another $5,000 to $10,000 to litigate and, to try to recover your money.
So how did you, or why did you go into the area of business law when you go to law school? The sky's the limit. You go in any different direction
Sure.
you want. Why did you choose business law?
Well, so ever since a young age, everyone in my family is an entrepreneur, and we all came to America. It's a land of opportunity, and it still is. And everyone in my family worked really hard, working minimum wage jobs to factories, and they all started their own businesses. And I saw the American dream come alive. And so I was involved in family businesses since a very young age, helping my parents, through their paperwork and legal documents and things like that as much as I can at that age.
Yeah.
And then I followed that up with studying entrepreneurship in high school, and then majoring in business in college, and then getting a law degree with an emphasis on business. And so I was always destined for business and wanted to be an entrepreneur myself. And so after I graduated, though, businesses obviously don't like to. There was a downturn because businesses, that's the first thing they cut is their legal budget. And so I had a fantastic opportunity to instead work as an insurance defense attorney in Chicago. And I did that for a year, and I was trained as a litigator. It was a great opportunity, and it really developed my skills as an attorney. But I always felt that I had a bigger purpose. And so I quit, and then I did some traveling and found the courage to start my own practice.
So how do you differentiate yourself in the business law community, because it seems to be very saturated out there? How do you differentiate yourself from your competition?
Sure. Well, so right now the community is not that saturated in terms of attorneys that actually provide legal services targeted towards businesses. Mm-hmm. A lot of attorneys offer business services, but that's a secondary practice to one of their other bigger practices that's creating revenue. And a lot of times these, people who aren't really focused on the small business practice, they're not aware of the nuances that are associated with these types of transactions. And so it's, we're focused on helping entrepreneurs by keeping their costs low, changing the legal model. One of the reasons why entrepreneurs do avoid attorneys is because they are afraid of their legal costs. There's a lack of transparency. And so we're trying to change all of that. We're leveraging technology. We're providing upfront flat fee quotes.
I think people like that in business because the hourly rate always scares the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
They're like, did he really work that long? So, and especially when I see like an hourly, when you tell me it takes 3 hours to do something, my mind says I could do that in 30 minutes. Because I don't understand law.
Well, nobody can actually justify the value of that because they don't actually do it. And so, if you notice the last 3 attorneys we've had in here, all of them charge some sort of flat fee for entrepreneurs. And it's because of the fact entrepreneurs need to know what is it going to cost me and how much, in the long run, because I need to understand that. The other thing I really like about Cal is that he really understands the entrepreneur mindset. And when you have entrepreneurs, like you said, just can't understand the value of $200, and then end up $30,000, you're like, think what you could have done with $30,000 for them, set it up for them. So.
Good discussion here. Currently talking to Kalpesh Patel. He is an attorney with FL Patel Law, and learn more at flpatellaw.com. And also alongside Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, bringing out the CEO in you. Learn more at focusonyoustrategy.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Heavy traffic in South St. Pete as you head out towards the Skyway Bridge and Bradenton. That's all due to an overturned vehicle in the right-hand lane just before the Dick Meisner Bridge, which is the small bridge before the Skyway Toll Plaza, so expect delays from before 54th Avenue South. Typical delays in Tampa now on southbound 275 from before Fletcher Avenue to around Sly. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uter, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Dex Imaging. When it comes to digital copiers and printers, nobody performs like Dex. Partner with an office imaging company that puts you first. Visit them at deximaging.com. That's deximaging.com.
Today, partly cloudy and dry with a high 84. Tonight, a cold front moves in, but just a 10% rain chance, low 59. Tomorrow, sunny and breezy, high 78.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
And welcome back to the Focus Fridays edition of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly. Kelly will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Julianne Nichols is in the co-host seat for this hour. Learn more about her business over at FocusOnYouStrategy.com and take advantage of one of her upcoming CEO exchanges. Julianne, when do you have a CEO exchange coming up?
The next one is on the 27th, actually, at the Regis in downtown St. Pete.
Okay, and people can register for those on the website. There's an events calendar over there. $30, and it's a small, intimate environment of your peers. Sit down with Julianne and several other business owners and talk about your problems and get some input from your peers. And a very good information comes from those. We're currently talking to Kalpesh Patel, attorney with FL Patel Law. Learn more at flpatellaw.com. Again, specializing in business law. And Kalpesh, Julianne mentioned she is setting up her conference in April as a nonprofit. And I've always wondered about setting up nonprofits. Should like TBBO maybe be a nonprofit? I don't really understand that. So what's some of the basics that one needs to know about setting up a nonprofit, and why would you do that versus a for-profit?
Sure. So there's several things you need to know to kind of determine whether your business is right for a nonprofit status, right? So what is the goal of your business? Is there some sort of a charitable purpose? Are you going to give back to the community somehow? And when you set up a nonprofit, there's two things that are important to know. It's that not all nonprofits are tax exempt. So you can form a nonprofit in the state of Florida, and then you have to get, it's still taxed by the federal government. And so to get tax exempt status, your nonprofit specifically has to be set up for a charitable purpose related to religion, education, or a scientific endeavor. And it's designed as a public benefits company.
Okay, so that's and all nonprofits are then 501c3s, or is 501c3 different from nonprofits?
So,
go ahead.
Nonprofits, it's a state charter, right? And then so for tax exempt purposes, that's just a tax code. So there's 501c3, 501c4, 501c6. So you can set up a nonprofit for a sporting event, and one of the most popular example is that NFL. It's a nonprofit. And then USAA, it's a mutual benefits company. And so there's a lot of big companies that are also already in that nonprofit sector that do make it really big. And again, the whole purpose of that, the whole goal of a nonprofit is to really take the profits you make and give that back to the community.
I've always wondered, like my radio show here, could I establish this as a nonprofit? Because really, I am giving back to the community. I bring entrepreneurs in here every day, and they, get the benefit of, getting their message out to the community. Would a radio show, for instance, be on tap for, being set up as a nonprofit even?
So you probably could set up the radio show as a nonprofit for the state of Florida, and whether the state of Florida taxes you or not, we'd have to kind of talk in private about that. But whether or not you get tax exempt status is you have to file the application, and then the IRS audits your business, right? So they look at your business activities, and if you meet one of the criterias, if you somehow are fulfilling an educational purpose, which also has to be, scientifically kind of a generally accepted method in the community, that the education you're providing, it's, in literature and things like that. And if it qualifies, then the IRS will grant you the tax exempt status.
And doesn't it make it easier then for other companies then to give to you? Because if you're a for-profit company, it's like, all right, we can't give to you. But if you're a nonprofit, they usually allocate funds to give to nonprofits.
Yeah, and so it is one of the reasons why a lot of people, the non-exempt status is coveted, is because it makes it easier to get sponsorships, and it makes for-profit companies, helps them lower their taxes by making a charitable deduction.
What about earnings of the officers? Is there some type of guideline? I mean, you say you can pay yourself what's reasonable, but reasonable is a subjective term. How would you go about, paying yourself in a nonprofit then?
Sure. So because a nonprofit, it's almost owned by the public. It's not owned by any one individual, right? So there's a board, and the board determines what's reasonable and what's not. And if the board fails their duties to provide a reasonable salary to their officers, then the board could get in trouble for that. And what's reasonable depends on the size of your organization. For example, if you're nonprofits, a multi-million-dollar nonprofit, you look at the compensation industry-wide and see how much our CEOs in the other comparable businesses do they get paid. And so the whole point is, we want to attract top talent for the nonprofit as well. And you can't attract, top talent if you can't pay them at the size of at the size that your business is.
How long does one take to set up? Is the application process pretty quick in terms of you got it all, you send it in, you get a yes or a no? How does that work?
Sure. So you can form your state charter. It's fairly quick. The state of Florida is pretty good. They have a really good corporations division here. But to get the tax exempt status, it takes at least 3 to 6 months, and it could go into as much as 9 months. But if your business, if your nonprofit is anticipating less than making $50,000 in some sort of raising funds, then the IRS has an easy application you can fill out, and which takes about 13 days.
Good discussion here. Currently talking to Kalpesh Patel, attorney with FL Patel Law. And again, learn more, flpatellaw.com, and also more about Julianne Nichols over at focusonustrategy.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
You're listening listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
And we're back to the Focus Fridays edition of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly. Kelly will be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. We're in studio with Julianne Nichols in the co-host seat. She is the CEO of Focus on You Strategy, bringing out the CEO in you, and we invite you to continue the discussion in the online Facebook group simply entitled Focus Fridays. And also, again, take advantage of one of the upcoming CEO exchanges. And again, the next one was what date?
Thursday, October 27th at the Regis offices in downtown St. Pete.
And those always fill up, so you want to register for those as soon as possible. $30, again, a small, intimate group of peers to share some of your business challenges with. Again, use the events calendar over at focusonustrategy.com to register for one of those. Currently talking to Kalpash Patel, attorney and a counselor with FL Patel Law. Learn more at flpatellaw.com. Again, specializing in business services. Now, Kalpash, we see a lot of times on television advertisements for LegalZoom or do-it-yourself law services. Let's talk a little bit about that in this segment. You know, why would one use LegalZoom, or why should they avoid LegalZoom? Let's talk about this.
Sure. So LegalZoom's a good service. It's almost like a paralegal service, I would compare it to, you know. So it's not really good for entrepreneurs, especially who are kind of starting off and whatnot, because, again, it comes back to the challenge of understanding the transaction, right? And so what LegalZoom does is it's only a form-filling service, and you're paying hundreds of dollars just to fill a form out. And if you don't know how to answer those questions properly, then you're not going to.
Is there a live attorney on the other side? Is there like a chat box or something? And or do you just
No, they can't offer that. And if you want to have it reviewed by an attorney, you have to pay an extra fee. And that's only limited to, you know, a few minutes and things like that. And to get proper guidance and counsel, you really need to have a conversation with your counselor to really advise you and tell you what's in your best interest.
Now, LegalZoom was started, I think, by the attorney out in California. I forget the guy's name off the top. Shapiro, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so what attracts people to LegalZoom? Do people go there to set up the business, the corporation? Is that usually what they're going there to do? What other services does LegalZoom attract people to do?
Sure. Well, so LegalZoom's become a giant company, right? They make about $120 million a year. And it's what they do is they're providing, you know, they're trying to do all kinds of forms, whatever you need, versus family and business, and so they do a lot of things.
Well, I think the biggest thing that LegalZoom is that it's just a form that you fill in, right? So if you don't know what to put in those answer boxes, you're filling in forms that you hope are correct.
Do entrepreneurs typically go there before they go to the attorney? Because what's step one when it comes to setting up a business? Determining the structure or what you're going to be, correct?
Yeah.
And so LegalZoom, I imagine, then has some type of intake process that you go on there and says, all right, are you going to be an S Corp, C Corp,
Sure.
LLC?
And so I looked at LegalZoom before I started my practice because, you know, the industry is changing, and that's what people want. People want these simplified and discounted services. And so I checked out LegalZoom, and they don't tell you whether you should be a C Corp or an LLC. That, you know, that
they let you decide.
But yeah, you pick, you know, if you want to form an LLC, you click on this button to form an LLC. But you don't know if that's right for you or not.
And I don't think a lot of people understand what LLC is versus S Corp, C Corps. I think those are one and the same, just different structures, and I don't fully even understand it.
And I'll give you one example. You know, many people think S Corp is a type of a entity you form, but it's actually tax structured by the IRS and has nothing to do with your entity.
Now, there are single-member LLCs and there's multiple-member LLCs, and I've heard recently there's some changes in this coming about to the structure of LLCs. Do you know about what I'm talking about here with regard to single-member LLCs and multiple-member LLCs?
Sure. So, possibly, I may know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the structure is changing on an LLC. There can't be single-member LLCs in Florida going forward. There has to be a change in structure. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not too familiar with it in depth. I do know that in Florida, they have weakened the corporate veil for single-member LLCs, meaning that if you're a single-member LLC, the protection that's granted to you by the act is easily kind of pierced.
Okay, that's something that I've just starting to hear through the grapevine, and I need to find out myself because I have an LLC myself. So, what are the different types of structures then that a small business owner then would enter into, and why would they choose an LLC versus other forms?
Sure, and so I really hope they don't change it because an LLC is a really good option for solo entrepreneurs. It makes it easy for them to be protected for their business. The only other option they would have, unless they did an LLC, was a C corporation. And, you would run into the same challenges. So I would be very surprised if they somehow made it so a single member can't form an LLC.
Now, what is the difference between when you say C Corp and S Corporation? Let's go through that. The S Corp is, I think, the basic LLC, right? And the C Corp is 50 shareholders or something or more?
No. Okay. So in the state of Florida, if you want liability protection for your business, you can either form a limited liability partnership, a limited liability company, which is an LLC, or a C corporation. And so those are the three organizations that are primarily formed. Or alternative, let's not forget the nonprofit. So there's four. And so a C corporation is, just like another corporation. And then LLC is a limited liability company. But the S corp tax structure, either one of those companies can elect to be taxed as an S corp. And so LLC gives you the greatest flexibility in the sense you can elect to get taxed as a C corp, S corp, or as a partnership. Versus a C corp, you can only be taxed as a C corp or an S corp. And if you choose to be taxed as an S corp, you have to be an employee of the company, and the profits aren't taxed. But this is a conversation that one should really have with their accountant to determine what is the best tax structure for them.
Yeah, when you're setting up a business, should you start with the accountant or the attorney? That's a question I often pose, to attorneys and accountants. I myself went to the accountant. They set up my corporate structure. I got some paperwork and a tax ID in the mail, and I was ready to go. But where should one start when setting up a business?
You should start with both. You should refer to your attorney for all tax advice and tax matters, and you should talk to your attorney for right type of corporate structure and liability protection. For example, an LLC is not right for everyone, and a C Corp isn't right for everyone. And those are two important distinctions that you need to have a conversation with your attorney to determine if it's right for your business. An accountant can't do that for you.
Now, as your business begins to grow, is there a necessity to change structure and to plan on a structure change down the road as you begin to grow?
Yeah, so this is a question that many startups face, in fact, because they all want to be C Corps. They all want to be Delaware C Corps because they think, they're going to grow and they're going to get funding and there's going to be venture capitalists injected and things like that. But the thing is, if you start with a C Corp, there's a lot more paper requirements and filing requirements you have to keep up with, keep up the formalities and things like that. And versus setting up an LLC, it's less regulated and there aren't a lot of record-keeping requirements with an LLC. And so I usually advise my clients who are, starting off, start with an LLC, and then you can always convert into a C Corp later on if you get to that stage of your company.
Why do people incorporate in Delaware so much, too? I always see Delaware corporations out there. And is Florida a bad state to incorporate in? I think Florida is a pretty a good state, right? I don't see a lot of people leaving Florida to go incorporate in other states.
So most people, specifically startups, they like to incorporate in Delaware because their whole goal is to get venture capital funding. And companies who are seeking that type of funding, venture capitalists like Delaware because the documents are all set. They know, they know that this document, it's already been litigated, and so there's a precedence on what the outcome would be of a conflict or a dispute and things like that. So it keeps the legal costs down. And incorporating in Florida is a great idea. Florida is a great state, obviously because there's also no income tax, and so it's a big benefit to entrepreneurs. And for entrepreneurs that are starting off, I would advise against forming in Delaware because now you're going to increase your legal costs when you're not even making money. So because you're going to have to register in two states, Delaware and Florida. And so Florida is a great option.
Okay, so you advise the people that come through starting a business, just stay in Florida, then no need to go up to Delaware where all the bigger corporations like to
and they can always go into Delaware later on. When they do get their funding, you know what? The funding partners will pay for that legal conversion. So it's less money out of your pocket right now when you need to invest it in your business.
What are some common mistakes then that you see that business owners are making in the early days of their business? Is setting up the wrong structure a very common mistake that business owners do?
Not so much. It's more of partnerships. People trust people and they don't nail down their agreements.
We talk about this a lot at Focus. I have people come in and say, "Oh, we want to start a partnership," and I'm like, "You realize that's getting married?"
Yeah.
And so they run off, they elope with somebody, they don't really know what they're getting themselves into, and now they find out, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" And now I need to get a divorce.
How do you advise people that come to you and say that they want to start a partnership? If one has majority control, they can always, push the other one.
They need to date.
Yeah. Well, so, one of the other insights I've kind of learned is that most people, when they start a business, when they're fresh entrepreneurs, they usually choose the wrong partner because they're just looking for someone for the ride. And it doesn't work out. And then people who are really focused on being entrepreneurs, couple years later down the road, they're going to find someone else who's also committed to that entrepreneurship mentality and then find the right partner.
So what about two people that are equal, bring equal synergies together? Then how do you bring them together then? What's the best way to do it?
So the best way to do it is narrow down your roles and responsibilities. That's the biggest issues that partners have is that, someone's not committed to the venture and someone feels like they're doing more work. And so the whole point of a contract is to outline everything so there's no disputes in the future of whose responsibility is what and things like that.
It's almost like you have to have a will for the business as well, because we had a partnership come in a couple years ago. Two guys been in business together for 15 years. They had no really concrete partnership agreement. One of the partners dies. Wife is ticked, doesn't want to have anything to do with this company. She just wants to be bought out and walk away, and the partner couldn't buy her out. And it was a mess. It was a nightmare because they didn't have the right agreements in place to be able to do anything once. And once a partner dies, you are now married to that family that owns that. And it's crazy. Yeah. It's so crazy.
And so that's another reason to kind of have a partnership agreement is continuity of your business. Sometimes some of the statutes of some businesses, if a partner dies, that means the business is finished. You have to wind up and close down doors. And so if you don't have the right provisions to continue your business after an event like that, it also makes it easy for the partners to exit out of the business if it doesn't work out.
Good discussion here on the Focus Fridays edition of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. Again, currently talking to Kalpash Patel, attorney and counselor with FL Patel Law, again, specializing in business law, and learn more at flpatellaw.com, and also more about Julianne Nichols and her services over at focusonustrategy.com, again, where she brings out the CEO in you, and again, take advantage of one of the upcoming CEO exchanges and get some input from a group of your peers in a business setting. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank. And that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Slow traffic in Palm Harbor on southbound US 19 south of Tampa Road. Crash near County Road 39. Right lane blocked here. Right lane still blocked on southbound 275 as you head out from St. Petersburg towards the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. Crash just before the toll plaza on the Dick Meisner Bridge in the right-hand lane. Heavy traffic on the Summit Expressway westbound between 78th Street and 50th. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick. Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by St. Pete Clearwater International Airport. Pi makes people happy with low-cost fares, non-stop flights, and exciting new destinations to part to 57 cities, now including Cleveland, Ohio. St. Pete Clearwater International Airport. Going away? Check PIE today.
Today, partly cloudy and dry with a high 84. Tonight, a cold front moves in, but just a 10% rain chance, low 59. Tomorrow, sunny and breezy, high 78.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business. You're listening to the Focus Fridays edition of the program. And again, we invite you to continue the conversation online in the Facebook group Focus Fridays. And also want to remind everybody of the upcoming Business Symposium. We had a great pre-event mixer last night at the Tampa Club. So that was ahead of the main event on the October 28th date from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Hilton Hotel located at 950 Lake Carillon Drive. And also want to thank Julianne Nichols, who is going to be one of the event sponsors for the Business Symposium. So, Julianne, thank you much for that.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
And so she will have a booth and a very high-profile placement over there at the event next Friday. What do you got planned for us at the Business Symposium? What can people expect at your booth?
Definitely want to stop by our booth. We have this great new kind of little like an app that you can find out what the value of what your worth is, and we're real excited about that. We've actually had some other TBBO members who helped us get that together. And so stop by the booth. We're also giving away some free CEO exchanges and some free sessions with me. And so we're real excited about this. It'll be fun.
And then you've got your big conference around the corner in April. And let's talk a little bit more about that for listeners that are tuning in late. But this is going to be on April 27th and 28th at the new Wyndham Hotel in Clearwater.
Yes.
It's going to feature a keynote speaker that is a very high-profile speaker. Tell us about this.
Michael Gerber. He wrote the E-Myth Revisited. He's known as the small business guru, number one. He's known worldwide, was a mentor of mine as well. And this is actually a conference that focuses on entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. It's going to be great. We're really looking forward to it.
And you're going to have 30 to 40 speakers. I think you still have some openings for speakers.
We do. We're actually having a call out for speakers. Those speaker packets are going out as we speak. And we have 3 other keynote speakers from around the country who will be coming in. We're just finalizing those contracts now.
Okay, if somebody's listening right now would like to maybe be a speaker, how would they go about getting in touch with you?
They would just need to send an email to info@focusontrepreneurconference.com.
That's a long one.
I know.
So, I would say maybe we'll break that down by next April.
One of these days we'll figure it out.
Something. So
just look for the Bitleys on our website.
And the website will be up on November 1st, and then you have the early bird special for tickets. Again, this is a 2-day event, so definitely want to mark mark on your calendar to get tickets before the end of the year for $289. They go up by $100 or so more after the first of the year. So again, you'll be hearing a lot about that on the Focus Fridays coming up. So again, a conference to put on your calendar. You know about it ahead of time on April 27th and 28th. Currently talking also here to Kalpash Patel. He's an attorney with FL Patel Law. Again, flpatellaw.com for more information. So Kalpash, let's go back to talking about fee structure with regard to attorneys. We were talking earlier about why people go to LegalZoom or Rocket Lawyer. They think that they're saving money, but they can go to attorneys such as yourselves and request like flat fees because everybody's afraid of that hourly fee. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to these business transactions, some of them are so routine that a lot of attorneys will offer flat fees. And one of the things when you look at LegalZoom is that, you know, they'll bait you in with a really low price, but when you're at the end of a checkout, you know, they have all these different add-ons and things that attorneys will do for you, and that's why it costs so much. And so LegalZoom's great for if you know what you're doing and you want to do something a la carte, but if you're starting a business, you're probably going to need all those add-ons. And by the end of it, you're probably paying about $800 to $900. And they even give you a little comparison at the checkout page that says you're saving about $400 versus hiring an attorney. And get this, you're paying that price, like that $800-900, just to answer questions on a computer software.
It's not really an attorney.
No.
Yeah.
You know, and so one of the things, you know, the legal industry is changing and consumers are looking for this type of a service. So one of the things my firm's doing is we're trying to create these flat fee packages that are kind of all inclusive and that can compete with LegalZoom.
Okay, you mentioned add-ons. You're talking about add-ons that LegalZoom is trying to upsell you at the
yeah.
What are these add-ons that they're trying to
so
sell you?
I'll give you an example. So the starting price to form an LLC on LegalZoom is $159 plus filing fees, right? At the end of it, they have add-ons for registered agent services. They charge you if you want to get your tax ID. They charge you if you want to get your Florida tax ID. They charge you if they want to be a registered agent. And then this is, you know, they charge you $160, I think, almost, to be a registered agent. And that's just to put their name on a mailbox, you know.
Don't most people just put themselves as the registered agent or their accountant? Who should be the registered agent on just a basic, you know, one-member LLC?
Sure, and so that depends. If you have an attorney, a lot of times your attorney will offer to be a registered agent. And if you want to be your registered agent too, that's fine. The thing is, your registered agent has to be someone living in Florida, and it can't be a P.O. box and things like that. So a lot of times they will have a third party be a registered agent for privacy concerns.
Okay, so they start you at $159 to set up an LLC, but that doesn't include getting your tax ID, doesn't include setting up the registered agent. So that's all stuff I would assume would be going on when I'm going to LegalZoom. And I'm sure they probably make that clear at the end when they say, oh, you got this,
and then they say you need this. You have to have this to form your business.
Right, and that's something when I went to accountant, they did all that. So if I were to go to LegalZoom and I saw $159 to set up an LLC, I think, okay, good, $159 versus $400 or $500
until you check out.
Until you check out, and then they hit you with all of those add-ons. Correct? And so you're saying though that most attorneys, including yourself, will give people a flat fee if they come in and say, "Listen, I need to set up an LLC. What's the cost?" And so what is the cost to set up an LLC? One member, get the tax ID.
Sure. So I'm an entrepreneur myself, and being an entrepreneur, you have to kind of experiment with what works and what doesn't work for your business. And we've been playing around with our pricing structure a little bit. We started with LegalZoom and had these options a la carte, where entrepreneurs can choose. And we're going to get rid of all of that. We're going to charge a flat $6.99 fee to set up an LLC or a corporation. And
it's a great price.
Thank you. Yeah. And so our whole goal is, hey, we'll get your business all compliant so you're ready to go out there and make money.
What about costs for reviewing contracts? Can you give a flat fee for reviewing a contract? Do you have to know the number of pages? Because, a contract could be simple or it could be complex. Do you have to kind of see it ahead of time and say, all right, this is going to be $500?
And so I've tried to play around with flat fee pricing for contracts, and it doesn't really work out. It ends up being more for the consumer because one of the pricing structure we priced out was, we will charge $150 for the hour consultation plus $3 a page or something like that. But it turns out a lot of times, a 50-page contract may not, it adds up. And so I think an hourly rate for a contract review is the best price for that. And I'll give you a typical example of a contract review price, right? A 20-page contract with consultation could maybe take about an hour and a half.
Okay, not too bad then. So you definitely want to reach out to CalPash there to review your contracts, and also if you're looking to set up a business. Again, what was the price for setting up a business?
$6.99.
$6.99, and it gets you all of those frills that you need, and not itemizing you there like you're doing LegalZoom.
I have to include that doesn't include the filing fees.
Does or does not?
Does not.
Does not. Okay, so he upsells you on the filing fees. All right, real quick, location. You're there in Julianne's building, but where are you at so people know?
We're at the First Central Tower in downtown St. Petersburg. It's a big blue building with the letters BB&T.
All right.
So if anyone's around, stop on by.
All right, sounds good. CalPash, we thank you so much for being in studio on this Focus Fridays edition.
Thank you.
And also, Julianne Nichols, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
All right. And again, we invite you to continue the conversation online in the Facebook group Focus Fridays. And again, every Friday at 7, we feature Julianne Nichols and one of her clients, or in this case, someone who's going to be involved in the upcoming conference on April 27th and 28th. Again, Kalpesh Patel, who's going to be on the host committee for the upcoming conference. Learn more about this program over at TampaBayRadio.com. And again, a reminder to pick up your tickets for the Business Symposium. It's going to be a great event. We expect around 400 people in attendance, and you can pick up a ticket over at TampaBayRadio.com. They are $39 for TBBO members and $59 for non-members. Again, TampaBayRadio.com. You've been listening to the Focus Fridays edition of That Business Show with Jamie and Kelly, where business becomes show business.